There comes a moment in life when you realize that defending yourself has never changed a liar's mind, never silenced a critic, never convinced someone who was determined to misunderstand you. That's when real strength begins. Strong people aren't strong because they fight every accusation. They're strong because they refuse to waste their life explaining who they are to people who don't even want the truth. Strength speaks louder than explanations, and the people who understand this operate on a completely different level of confidence. When someone questions them, judges them, or tries to paint them in a negative light, their instinct is not to jump up, defend themselves, or explain their intentions in panic. Instead, they remain calm, grounded, and composed. Why? Because they know that real strength is never proven through arguments. It is proven through consistency, character, and presence. A strong person understands that no amount of explaining can fix a mind that's already made up, and no amount of defending can convince someone who has already decided not to understand you. When you have strength within you, your behavior becomes your voice. You don't need long speeches or emotional outbursts to justify your decisions. You're not seeking approval from everyone around you. You're not trying to correct every misunderstanding. You are focused on the truth, not the noise surrounding it. You know who you are, and you trust that your actions will show it better than your words ever could. People who constantly defend themselves usually do it out of fear. Fear of being disliked, fear of losing control, fear of being misunderstood. But people with inner strength have already faced those fears, and they're no longer controlled by them. They know that being misunderstood is not a crisis. It's simply a part of life. Strong people understand that explanations often create more confusion than clarity. When you explain yourself to someone who doesn't want to believe you, they don't listen to your words. They listen to their insecurities. They twist your sentences, overlook your truth, and search for flaws in your logic. So instead of wasting time trying to win the approval of someone who's committed to resisting the truth, strong people save their energy. They choose silence over struggle. They choose calmness over chaos. They choose self-respect over validation. When you don't defend yourself, you're not being weak. You're showing that you are secure enough in your identity that you don't need external confirmation. You're showing that your truth is not up for negotiation. You're showing that you don't rely on public opinion to feel grounded. This level of self-trust is rare, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Most people live in a constant state of explaining themselves, trying to fix how others see them, trying to maintain an image, trying to avoid criticism. Strong people let go of that burden. They understand that the world will always have opinions, and most of those opinions have nothing to do with reality. When you are strong, you know that your actions over time will reveal the truth. If someone doubts your character, they will see who you really are through your consistency. If someone questions your intentions, you don't need to argue. Your long-term behavior will speak for you. If someone lies about you, their lie may spread quickly at first, but the truth will outlast it. Strong people play the long game. They don't chase temporary victories in arguments. They build long-term credibility through who they are every single day. Another reason strong people never defend themselves is because they recognize where their energy belongs. They know that every argument has a cost. Every emotional reaction takes something from you, your time, your peace, your focus. Strong people guard their energy the way wealthy people guard their money. They don't invest it into situations that bring no return. They don't pour their emotional resources into people who don't value them. Instead, they invest it in their growth, their goals, their peace, and their future. They understand that defending yourself is often an emotional trap designed to pull you into drama, conflict, or confusion, and they refuse to participate in anything that distracts them from the bigger picture of their life. When you stop defending yourself, something powerful happens. people start realizing that you're not easily moved. They see your calmness, your silence, your lack of desperation, and it makes them rethink their assumptions. Silence forces people to reflect on their own behavior. When you don't react, they start questioning their own motives. They start seeing that you are not someone who breaks under pressure, and that intimidates the ones who expected you to crumble. Your silence becomes a mirror that exposes their intentions. People who lie about you or criticize you suddenly realize they cannot control you. People who misunderstand you begin to feel the weight of their own assumptions. Strong people never defend themselves because they understand the difference between image and identity. Image is what people think of you. Identity is who you really are. Weak people obsess over their image. Strong people focus on their identity. Image is temporary, unstable, and dependent on others. Identity is permanent, stable, and rooted in truth. When you live from identity, you don't need to chase every rumor or correct every narrative. You simply continue being who you are, and eventually the right people will see it. There is also a profound emotional wisdom behind not defending yourself. When you defend yourself, you give someone else power over your emotional state. You hand them the steering wheel and allow them to dictate your reactions. But when you remain composed, you show that your self-worth is not in their hands. You show that you can control your emotions, your responses, and your inner world. This level of emotional maturity is what sets strong people apart. They don't react, they respond. They don't panic, they observe. They don't collapse under pressure, they rise above it. In life, not everyone will understand you, but the right people will. Not everyone will believe in you, but the right ones won't need explanations. Not everyone will support you, but the ones who matter won't require convincing. Strong people invest in the right people, not in the loudest ones. They choose clarity over chaos, integrity over ego, peace over arguments, and authenticity over approval. That is why strength speaks louder than explanations. It's not about proving you're right. It's about proving you're unshakable. It's about being so rooted in your truth that you no longer feel the need to defend it. And when you reach that level of inner power, life becomes calmer, clearer, and infinitely more peaceful, because you're finally living from a place of strength, not fear. Emotional control is one of the most misunderstood forms of power, yet it is the foundation of every strong person's life. When people hear the words emotional control, they often imagine someone cold, detached, or disconnected from their feelings. But true emotional control is the opposite. It means you feel everything but choose your reaction with intention. It means you experience emotions without letting them dominate your decisions. It means you are aware of your inner world, but you don't hand others the power to manipulate it. This is why strong people seem calm during chaos, not because they don't feel anything, but because they don't allow feelings to lead them into impulsive choices they will regret later. Most people defend themselves emotionally, not logically. When they feel attacked, their emotions jump into survival mode. They react quickly, trying to restore their sense of safety or image. They argue, explain, justify, and counterattack. But strong people understand that the moment you get emotional, you lose clarity. You say things you don't mean. You give away information you shouldn't. You fight battles that were never worth fighting. Emotional reactions create confusion, and confusion creates vulnerability. Strong people know this, so they step back, breathe, and pause before responding. That pause is their superpower. It gives them time to evaluate whether the situation even deserves a reaction. When someone tries to provoke them, strong people don't take the bait. They recognize that not every statement requires a response, and not every question needs an answer. Provokers feed on emotional reactions. They thrive when you get defensive. They want to see you flustered, angry, or upset because it gives them control. But when you remain calm, You take that control away. You signal that your emotions are not available for manipulation. This frustrates people who rely on chaos to feel powerful. Your calmness becomes a shield that protects you from emotional traps. Strong people also understand the value of observing instead of reacting. When you observe, you gather information. You see people's intentions more clearly. You notice patterns in their behavior. You recognize emotional triggers within yourself. But when you react impulsively, you miss these details. You act based on assumptions rather than understanding. Emotional control gives you the mental space to analyze the situation instead of drowning in it. It helps you respond in a way that protects your values rather than your ego. Emotional control is also about choosing long-term benefits over short-term satisfaction. Defending yourself may feel good in the moment. It might give you a sense of victory or relief, but that feeling is temporary. Often, it leads to more conflict, deeper misunderstandings, and longer arguments. Strong people think about the long run. They value their peace more than their pride. They understand that sometimes silence today creates stability tomorrow. Instead of reacting for emotional comfort, they respond for emotional clarity. Another aspect of emotional control is understanding that other people's behavior is rarely about you. Most criticism, insults, and accusations come from projection. Someone may be insecure, jealous, threatened, or unhappy, and they project that onto you. If you respond emotionally, you fall into the trap of taking ownership of their feelings. But strong people separate the two. They understand this is about them, not me. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You stop defending yourself against problems that were never yours to solve. When you master your emotions, you master your communication. Strong people choose their words carefully because they know the impact of language. They don't use words to win, they use them to clarify. They don't speak to prove someone wrong, they speak to protect their inner world. And if words won't help, they choose silence, which is often more powerful than any argument. Every strong person knows that silence ends more conflicts than explanations ever will. Strong people also recognize the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is immediate, uncontrolled, and emotional. Responding is thoughtful, deliberate, and grounded. When you respond instead of react, you maintain your dignity, you maintain your image, you maintain your strength. You walk away from conversations without regrets. You don't have to apologize later for emotional outbursts. You don't replay the argument in your head, wondering what you should have said differently. Emotional control gives you peace during and after the situation. Emotional control is not about suppressing emotions. It's about managing them. Strong people feel anger, disappointment, frustration, and sadness just like everyone else. The difference is how they process these emotions internally. Instead of letting emotions explode outward, they let them settle inward. They acknowledge their feelings, analyze them, and release them. This prevents emotional buildup. It prevents resentment from growing. It prevents small issues from becoming emotional storms. Strong people also set emotional boundaries. They decide who has access to their energy and who does not. They don't allow emotionally draining people to dictate their mood. They don't engage with people who thrive on argument. They don't entertain drama that pulls them out of alignment. Emotional boundaries protect them from being constantly reactive. These boundaries are not walls that block people out. They are filters that prevent emotional toxins from entering their space. One of the strongest forms of emotional control is not allowing your mood to be controlled by external events. Life will always be unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Circumstances will change suddenly. Unexpected challenges will arise. Strong people remain steady not because life is easy for them, but because they have trained themselves to remain emotionally balanced regardless of what happens. They don't allow a bad moment to ruin their day. They don't allow someone else's negativity to poison their mindset. They stay grounded in themselves. Emotional control also brings confidence. When you know you can remain calm, you stop fearing difficult conversations. You stop avoiding conflict. You stop worrying about being misunderstood. Confidence comes from trust in your ability to handle any situation with clarity rather than panic. This level of confidence makes you unstoppable. People begin to respect you not because of what you say, but because of how you carry yourself. Over time, emotional control becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a default mode of being. You start seeing everything through a lens of calmness and strength. You choose your reactions like you choose your clothes intentionally. You express yourself without insecurity. You handle stress without breaking down. You walk away from disrespect without guilt. You protect your peace like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. And this is why strong people never defend themselves emotionally. They don't allow their feelings to be weaponized against them. They don't enter battles controlled by impulse. They don't waste energy trying to fix someone's perception while sacrificing their own emotional health. They move with clarity, wisdom, and self-control. They know that emotional control is not just strength, it is freedom. Strong people understand a profound truth that many never realize: not every opinion deserves your attention. Life becomes infinitely lighter the moment you stop trying to manage how everyone else sees you. Strong people know that people form opinions quickly, emotionally, and often inaccurately, and most of those opinions have nothing to do with reality. They come from personal bias, insecurity, jealousy, misunderstanding, or simple lack of awareness. Trying to chase every opinion, correct every misunderstanding, or convince every critic would drain your energy and leave you exhausted. Strong people don't live like that. They choose where to invest their attention and, more importantly, where not asterisk to invest it. There is a freedom that comes from realizing you are not responsible for someone else's imagination. If a person decides to misunderstand you, twists your intentions, or believes something false about you, that is a reflection of their mindset, not your character. Strong people refuse to carry that burden. They know their truth, and they trust that the people who matter will see it without needing constant explanations. Trying to fix someone else's opinion often leads to more confusion, more drama, and more frustration. The harder you try to explain yourself to someone who isn't listening, the deeper you fall into their emotional trap. Strong people avoid this completely by choosing silence over struggle. Another reason strong people don't chase opinions is because they understand the limitations of human perception. People see the world not as it is, but as they are. If someone is insecure, they project insecurity onto you. If someone is jealous, they assume you're showing off. If someone is threatened, they interpret your confidence as arrogance. Everyone filters your actions through their own emotions and experiences. Strong people don't attempt to untangle these filters for others. They know that it's impossible. You cannot change someone's internal world by adjusting your external behavior. You cannot win against someone's inner narrative. So instead of fighting those battles, they walk away from them. Strong people respect themselves enough not to shrink for someone else's comfort. When people speak negatively about them, instead of panicking, they calmly evaluate whether this person's opinion even holds value. Most of the time, it doesn't. A critic who barely knows you cannot define you. A jealous person cannot judge you fairly. A bitter person cannot speak truth with clarity. When you realize that many opinions are simply emotional reactions disguised as facts, you stop trying to manage them. You stop explaining yourself to people who are not capable of understanding you in the first place. Not every voice deserves space in your mind. Strong people choose which voices to let in. They listen to constructive criticism from people they trust, not destructive noise from people who don't matter. They value feedback from those who actually care about growth, not from those who simply enjoy conflict. This selective listening helps them protect their peace and remain focused on what truly matters. When you give equal weight to every opinion, you lose your balance. Strong people avoid this by creating mental boundaries. Some voices come in, most stay out. Another powerful truth strong people understand is this: people's opinions often change with time. Someone may misunderstand you today, but appreciate you tomorrow. Someone may doubt you now, but admire you later. Someone may judge you before knowing your story, only to respect you once your results speak louder than their assumptions. Strong people don't rush to correct people prematurely. They let time reveal the truth. They let consistency prove their character. They let results speak for them. Time is the strongest argument, and strong people allow it to do the talking. Strong people also know that defending yourself sometimes makes you look weaker, not stronger. When you rush to prove yourself, you appear desperate for approval. You show that the other person's opinion has power over you. But when you stay calm, when you stay silent, when you refuse to explain yourself unnecessarily, you demonstrate emotional independence. You show that you do not need validation from people who don't contribute to your life. You show that your identity is not built on the fragile foundation of public opinion. This confidence often forces people to reconsider their assumptions. Silence makes them think. Calmness makes them reevaluate. Strength makes them observe instead of judge. A big part of ignoring unnecessary opinions is understanding your own priorities. Strong people know what matters to them. They know their values, their goals, their purpose. When you have a clear direction in life, other people's comments become blurry background noise. Their judgments do not derail you because you are anchored in something bigger. You don't get distracted by every passing opinion because you are focused on something more meaningful. Your path becomes your protection. Your purpose becomes your filter. Many people waste years of their lives adjusting themselves to fit other people's expectations. They change their choices, their personality, their dreams just to avoid criticism. But strong people refuse to sacrifice their authenticity just to be liked. They know that no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you're quiet, they call you weak. If you speak up, they call you arrogant. If you work hard, they call you obsessed. If you relax, they call you lazy. There is no winning with people who are determined to judge you. Strong people stop trying to win. They choose to live. Another layer of strength comes from understanding that not all opinions come from a place of honesty. Some are rooted in envy. Some are rooted in misunderstanding. Some are rooted in insecurity. Some are rooted in resentment. When you realize that negative opinions often say more about the person giving them than the person receiving them, you stop taking them personally. You stop defending yourself against lies that were never your responsibility to correct. You stop arguing with people who don't even respect themselves enough to speak truthfully. Strong people protect their mental space fiercely. They choose peace over approval. They choose integrity over image. They choose authenticity over acceptance. They choose meaningful relationships over shallow validation. They choose growth over gossip. This mindset frees them from the emotional weight of other people's judgments. At the end of the day, strong people never concern themselves with every opinion because they know that the only opinions that matter are from people who genuinely care, understand, and support.